Welcome to this week's KBJ Weekly Pan-African News Roundup. Here, we serve you with all the major news headlines from across Africa and the African diaspora. In the headlines, Nigeria and Morocco's gas pipeline project underway. Ghana declares the end of the Marburg virus outbreak. The Woman King film released. A memorandum of understanding on a gas pipeline project linking Nigeria to Morocco, which will also supply West Africa and Europe, was signed on Thursday in Rabat, an official source said. The memorandum on the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project was initialed by the leaders of the National Nigeria Petroleum Company Limited and the Moroccan Office of Hydrocarbons and Mines and a senior official of ECOWAS in charge of energy, according to a joint statement. The text signed confirmed the statement of ECOWAS and all countries involved to contribute the feasibility of this important project, the statement stated. The project, for which no timeline has been set, is being carried out in a geopolitical context marked by strong international demand for gas and oil and a surge in prices following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Several countries, particularly in Europe, are seeking to reduce their dependence on Russian supplies. The 6,000-kilometer Nigeria-Morocco project will cross 13 African countries along the Atlantic coast and supply the landlocked states of Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali, according to the statement. It is expected to bring more than 5,000 billion cubic meters of natural gas to Morocco. From there, it will be connected directly to the Maghreb-Europe gas pipeline and European gas network. Ghana last Friday declared the end of the Marburg virus disease outbreak, a hemorrhagic fever almost as deadly as Ebola, 2 months after recording 3 cases, 2 of them fatal, the World Health Organization has announced. Quote, Ghana's Ministry of Health has declared the end of the epidemic after no cases were recorded after 42 days, the WHO announced in a statement. Dr. Matshidiso Mioti, WHO Regional Director for Africa, was quoted as saying in his statement, "This was the first time that hemorrhagic fever has been detected in Ghana, which has confirmed a total of 3 cases, 2 of them fatal in the outbreak, which was declared on July 7th. The King of the Ashanti Kingdom, Otumfuo Osei Tutu, has been invited to attend the event marking the state funeral of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II at London's Westminster Abbey on Monday, as reports have stated. Queen Elizabeth II, the UK's longest-serving monarch, died on Thursday, September 8th at Balmoral, aged 96, after reigning for 70 years. The media cited the invitation on social media, as has been spotted by local media. The invitation was released by the Protocol Directorate for Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, stating that Otumfuo Osei Tutu II was invited by the household of His Majesty King Charles III. The invitation letter further stated that the Asantehene will be attending the Lion and State, His Majesty, the King's reception, State's funeral service, and Foreign Secretary's reception. The Protocol Directorate in the letter also stated that Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, together with his spouse, are all invited to attend the state funeral for the late Her Royal Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. In July 2018, Otumfuo Osei Tutu II hosted then Prince Charles at his Menchia Palace. The prince is now King Charles III. The International Monetary Fund called on governments in sub-Saharan Africa to be cautious about the macroeconomic reforms as famine spreads in the region badly affected by the aftermath of COVID-19 and the war in Ukraine. According to its estimate, at least 123 million people, or about 12% of its population, may be acutely food insecure, severely malnourished, or unable to meet their basic food needs. According, the IMF stated, global warming is contributing to an increase in the number of hungry people, while in East Africa, it is experiencing one of the worst droughts in its history. The impact on economics of the COVID-19 pandemic has combined with a spike in grain prices fueled by the war in Ukraine, the IMF also pointed out. Despite the many challenges, some trade, regulatory, and market liberalization reforms are feasible, IMF also stated. Recalibrated monetary policies could mitigate the impact on domestically produced goods and anchor inflation. The institution cited the example of Zambia's ban on exports of its maize in 2020, when the availability of some of the crop could have helped fill the food gap in Southern Africa. Tens of thousands of people cheered as William Ruto was sworn in as Kenya's president at a ceremony in the capital Nairobi following his narrow election win last month. Mr. Ruto hailed it as a moment like no other, adding that a village boy could become president. Defeated candidate Raila Odinga did not attend. He said he had serious concerns about his opponent's victory. Mr. Ruto won the election with 50.5% of the votes to Mr. Odinga's 48.8% of the votes. Mr. Odinga has alleged that the result was rigged, but the Supreme Court has ruled the election was free and fair. Mr. Ruto, the former deputy president, was handed a copy of Kenya's constitution and a sword to represent the transfer of power from President Uhuru Kenyatta. With his hand on the Bible, the 55-year-old swore to preserve and protect the Constitution. Angolan President João Lourenço pledged on Thursday to be the president for all Angolans during his inauguration for a second term in the capital, Luanda. The ceremony took place under heavy security presence after elections whose results were disputed by the opposition. The Popular Movement for the Liberation of Angola (MPLA) in power since independence from Portugal in 1975 won the elections held on the 24th of August with 51.17% of the vote, its lowest ever score. The main opposition party, the National Union for Independence (UNITA), which received 43.95% of the votes according to the Electoral Commission, claimed to have won the election according to its own count. The opposition rejected the results and appealed to the Constitutional Court. The appeal was rejected earlier this month. Some 15,000 strictly selected Angolans were invited to the ceremony, which was to be attended by some 50 heads of state and government, including Portuguese President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa. The Woman King movie took a year-long push to get made, and for star Viola Davis, the effort paid off. The Oscar-winning actress said she feels intense pressure and conflicting emotions because she knows the movie's performance will be judged in a way that films with white directors and cast are not. Viola Davis is proud that the movie was even made, citing how difficult it is for films with predominantly black casts, especially a cast led by black women. Quote, "We don't have enough hours, enough days to describe how hard it is to get films made in Hollywood with black people in it, especially black women. There are no words to quantify it. And I wish that there were microphones in the room. I wish there were cameras in the room so you could see what the day-to-day fight is and you could understand that this is something to be celebrated." Unquote. The movie is a 50 million action epic set in 1820s West Africa about the all-female army of the Dahomey Kingdom, with a black female director Gina Prince Brightwood and a majority of black and female cast. It will open in more than 3,000 domestic cinemas with a budget, including marketing, that reportedly approaches $100 million. Viola Davis, the only African American to win an Oscar, Emmy, and Tony, spent 6 years training to get The Woman King made, with studios and producers reluctant to take the plunge. Ugandan climate activist Vanessa Nakate was named UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador. In taking her appointment, the 25-year-old vowed to continue to speak up for the most vulnerable. A quiet strength, Vanessa Nakate is in the vanguard of climate action. The 25-year-old activist is the UNICEF's newest Goodwill Ambassador. In the New York-based headquarters of the United Nations, Nakate vowed to continue to speak up for the most vulnerable. Quote, "I would take this appointment not as a testament to something I have done, but as something that we have done as a movement of young people. Yes, the appointment opens doors to halls of powers, but more importantly, it expands the opportunities I have to travel to meet children and families mostly affected by the climate crisis and to amplify their stories on stages like this one, unquote. This recognition is a small accomplishment of the list of Nakate's successes. Over the past 4 years, he created a platform called Rise Up Movement to help African climate activists amplify their voices, spearheaded an initiative to stop the deforestation of African rainforests and launched the Vash Green Schools project, which aims to install solar panels in remote areas of her home country, Uganda. That will be all for this week's KBJ Weekly Pan-African News Roundup. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and also press on the notification bell to stay updated always. You can also follow us on all our social media handles. Thank you very much. It's bye for now.